Oh man, I am exhausted, and we were just talking off air. Brian I had had to go into my office for 4 days in the last 2 weeks for a few hours each. Brian, it is so tiring. I'm just exhausted. I'm not an extrovert, but people take it out of me, and just being around people for that long after sitting at home being quiet so often, it just wears you out.
It's exhausting. I mean, like literally you go from 0 to 100 overnight. You go from not being in the office at all to all of a sudden you're in the office every single time. In my case, I had a guy I was training for a new sales guy, and like going into the office all of a sudden 5 days a week for, an entire 8 hour a day for 2 weeks. It's just like, whew. And plus, like, you still have your normal stuff you have to do too for like my normal job position KPIs and stuff. And then on top of that, you have like what we do on our side hustle, like doing WAL, doing Brian Nichols show. Like there's a lot and life. And then you have like your own like personal lives and stuff,
So, I mean, we're just pumping out content right now because, for you patrons, thank you so much for supporting us. This is like the Super Bowl. So in an election season, like, you grow now and then you plateau for 4 years. And so between Labor Day and Christmas in an election year, it is like and it doesn't stop after Election Day either. It keeps going until Thanksgiving, November, until people kind of lose interest. And so you have to pump out content. I've probably written and posted about 200 different blog posts over the last 2 months, between the book reviews, the Liberty Explained videos, the contributions from people like Dakota Hensley, and then I'm writing almost every day a new column on Substack, and then I've got Now Hear This, the Pat Down, We Are Libertarians, Liberty Explained. We did 3 hours of podcasting last night for that, so there's new episodes coming out next week. We just did 2 hours. Now I'm editing all the video. It's just... And then in addition to that, I'm in college, and it's midterms, and we started a TV show at work that I'm learning how to edit a TV show. That's what I was just working on. I mean, it's nonstop.
You're busy.
I don't know how I do it, but thankfully my girlfriend is very patient and doesn't mind being ignored half the time. Yeah, but, it's just like, man... I'm ready for the election to get a bit of a break, but I don't know about you, but I'm having more fun. Like, it's as crazy as Trump is, like it's the most fun we'll ever have in an election cycle.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, 'cause Trump's a cartoon character. So like, what other president can really think of in modern history? Maybe you can say like George Bush, because he kind of had like that cartoony quality to him.
Yeah.
But like, Trump is just a nonstop like gas machine, but they're not even gas at this point. It's just like it's Trump. It's
it's exhausting. But I laughed so hard the other day when with this one.
You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable. We're taking care of our seniors.
It's just, and then he started one video with, "Hello, it's me, your favorite president."
He's what I imagine if we all gave our grandparents a microphone and just said, "Go be you," and then we were just like put it on air, because that's what Trump pretty much is. He's an old boomer, and he's got Twitter, and that's horrifying. He's also like your stereotypical, like, in the comment section on your local newspaper. You got Karen who's been going through with their all caps about whatever the issue is. That's Trump, but like he's president of the United States.
No, so when I worked at a talk radio show and screened phone calls, and we took local calls to talk radio, Donald Trump thinks and talks like every one of those people. He thinks like Lee from the East Side and Donald from Whitestown. Like, he is literally that guy. And right now, and I forgot to say this, but I thought of this last night. I was just like, every conservative talk show in America is getting stuck on the phone with their semi-racist, addled grandfather being held hostage, but they can't be mean to him because they don't want to get written out of the will. And they keep going, "Oh, well, he's supposed to do 3 hours with Rush, and he did 2. And Rush, at the end of the second hour, goes, 'Hey, buddy, I know you got a lot going on, so we're just going to end here.'" I know you have a lot going on in the radio industry as code to other radio people that interview didn't go well.
Yeah, I did that with Arvin when he was on my show.
What went wrong with it?
Oh, that's not wrong. It's just like, so, yeah, I know. So it was when Arvin was still technically running, and I had him on my show. And I told him from the onset, I was like, hey, my second show I ever did was about how I think you suck. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, but like, I'm going to be very civil. And he just like, we started off pretty civil in the conversation. I mean, the episode's live, you can hear it and stuff, but in the conversation, like, I just kept on bringing up things that I was like, this is stupid. Like there was the going after the veterans on Veterans Day for like the medal that said I guess you tried or something like that. There was like the stuff he was going after the public school teachers, comparing them to murderers and rapists and stuff. And I was just bringing these up one after the other, and like pretty much by the end of the interview, he was done with me. So I was like, all right, well, Alan, I know your time is valuable, so have a great rest of your day. And that was the last. I even sent him the interview too. I never heard back from Arvin. So
no, well, yeah.
I know. Mer.
Oh my God, Kristi Avery's walking into my apartment right now, live on camera. I had totally forgotten I said that she could come by. I also expected. I know. I also expected her to knock. I'm in my boxer shorts, by the way, so I hope you're ready.
My dream is coming true. I mean,
Good for you, Kristi.
Kristi, give him a tour of my apartment, Kristi. Take him on a tour. So start over. Show him the entryway here. Turn the camera around.
The luxury apartment.
Oh my gosh! And she's wearing the glasses that have like the square and the circle.
Yeah.
My asymmetry. I can't handle it. Okay, so you bring your phone here. Let me. Good grief! Oh, maybe you can't on Zoom. Maybe that's a flaw.
No, I think you can change you tap the screen and then it pops in the right hand corner.
Okay,
yeah.
There you go. So yeah, show the patrons the 25 and over.
very sexy legs.
Thank you. Yes, she can. My balls are basically out.
Wow.
Okay, so there's one of the bookshelves. So
dangly.
That's the entryway in the laundry room over there. Don't go in the laundry room. Got the original logo over here. And then this says, all those who enter here bring pleasure. Some others enter, others as they leave. And then my kitchen with my all my magnets and everything over there. It's my cute girlfriend. Caitlin Strong, that was from Dad years ago. Don't show him the countertop because it's messy. Reagan cooked last night, and she didn't clean up all my spices. Okay, so over here is the living room now, and over to the right is the table. And then swing around. So this is my dining room table from my childhood, and then that's where I do the podcasts over here. With the blackout curtain, there's a window back there. And then my couch. There's Mittens.
Hi, Mittens.
It's Mittens. And then show them the wall back here though, with all this stuff that you can't see. It's just off camera. My David Letterman autograph, the Constitution, behind the globe. Here, like, there's all my press passes from my 20 years in media and politics. There's the dear leader. And then, so show them the middle photo above the couch over here, because this is kind of a funny story. So I go to CPAC in 2003, and I buy these 3 photographs, and I see this dude in a military uniform, and I'm like, that guy looks really familiar. What's his name? Oliver North. So that is autographed by Oliver North.
That's fantastic.
Which, now that I'm a libertarian, makes me laugh. Then there's the back balcony just to her left. So I do my reading in that chair. And
Shooting of geese?
I shoot geese. My electrical grill there.
Ah, the toaster oven.
All right, and then go in the bedroom and show them my my books. And I'm out of shelf space. I've got everything double stacked. So I got those. Bathroom to the left. And then you walk into my bedroom, and there's my messy bed, the bookshelves. All right, swing back. Avoid the cat boxes. Come on now. Yeah. Oh, she's showing stuff. So there's 3 bookcases, and then my desk area, my standing desk. Do my writing and my homework there. H.L. Mencken above the desk. The goat. And then more bookshelves. So that's where I do all my thinking. And if that food bowl's empty, Mittens is very, very upset. So, yeah, it's just tons of books and Rupert T-shirt and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, that's the old compound. So, Kristi, come over here. Why are you here?
I attended a training event for the Rainwater for Governor campaign.
Yeah.
See if I can have my boobs fall out or something.
Give 'em
Woo!
what they-
I got
give 'em
this
what they
beautiful
want.
pin. And I got signs. I have 2 4x8 signs in my car.
Nice. Those are like huge, aren't they?
Yes. Sam, the one I got yesterday, and it was scored by the person that printed it, so it's all nice and folded neatly. Sam Goldstein scored the one I got today, and it's like a mess. I feel bad for the person who gets it.
Yeah, we tried to set Rainwater up with Brian, and their press guy didn't get back to him, and then
I reached out again too.
And they declined a Tom Woods interview, and Brian and I are like, that'd be a lot of money. Like, you'd get a lot of attention. Like, and Sam basically said, well, we're just focusing on Indiana media because he's got a day job and it's tough. And I'm just like, okay. So, whatever, man. It's not
what I would do, but
the Rainwater campaign in Indiana is basically like he got a poll at 24%. He's brought in like $200,000 now, and like all the anti-mask crowd is like super hardcore Rainwater, and like there's billboards now and TV commercials, and it's going crazy. It's definitely a race to watch for sure.
Yeah.
So
isn't he polling like around 30%?
So there's rumor of 3 other polls, and so the governor's campaign, Eric Holcomb, the Republican, and county party tried to refute Abdul's poll where he got 24 in a 3-way race, and one showed him up by 2 points winning, and one in second place behind by 2 points. And then there was a third media poll that said the same thing. And then the GOP has released 2 kind of bullshit looking polls where Rainwater's in a 8% 3-way race, which is still, even if Rainwater got 8%, that'd be great. And there's a ton of people that are hardcore Tea Party people that told me 10 years ago they'd never vote Libertarian, that are pushing that Libertarian button for the first time. So really a race to watch.
Isn't it the governor's race that dictates the level of party affiliate?
No.
Whether
Secretary
you're a
of State.
major party or on the ballot, or
Yeah.
is it Secretary of State?
If you get 10% in the Secretary of State's race, you get major party status.
Because in New York, you'd have to get, I think it's 500,000 votes in order to qualify for a major party status, and then the top 2 vote getters are determined on who's the elections commissioners. So because it's the Republican and Democrat in New York, it's always going to be those affiliates. But when Larry actually ran, there's a big concern from a lot of GOP folks that Larry was going to pull enough votes away that the Republicans might end up in 3rd place, which that would be like a huge implication from an election commissioner standpoint, because then all of a sudden you'd have every single county in New York State having to replace a Republican election commissioner along with their entire staffs, because every staff is also employed from a partisan standpoint. So if you have Republican and Democrat commissioners, then you have one of every single position, Republican and Democrat, for the appearance of bipartisanship. So it was a huge coup in New York State, but obviously Larry ended up, I think he came in 4th in New York behind Howie Hawkins, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. I think Larry's contention was that he made an argument that there were a lot of votes that weren't counted because they determined the race already, and that he would have gotten a lot more of those. I think that was the argument that Larry made, but I think that the actual vote total showed he came in 4th. People
give him crap, and I defended him at the time, and I still believe this. Like, oh, what a failed campaign. And I'm like, Larry Sharp turned on more people. Hody Johns, for instance, is a part of WAL, allegedly, because he got really into the campaign. Like, Larry did so much good for the Libertarian Party, and he's one of the few people that kind of everybody likes and everybody gets along with. And, like, he activated a lot of people, showed people how to run a good campaign, and just because the electoral result wasn't what everyone would like, it still was a win in those other parameters. So I think he gets unfairly criticized for that quote-unquote failed campaign, and I just think that I don't know, the people who don't know a lot about politics and have been around for like a couple years and make no effort to really know how politics works. It's like we just did the voter fraud episode. It's like the gap between how politics and government work and then what people say and what they think about it, like the memes around it, are so disparate. And it's like, yeah, Larry Sharpe really did a good job if you know how the Libertarian Party works. I think that's one of the more frustrating things about some of the criticism of the Libertarian Party. It's like, yeah, I know maybe Joe isn't what everybody'd like, or Gary Johnson, or there's the infighting, or this or that, but the amount of friendships that you make in the Libertarian Party, the amount of issues that are influenced on the candidate that does win, the hundreds of the thousands of volunteers and hundreds of candidates that are out there right now knocking on doors, talking to people in their local community, it does such a tremendous amount of good for the libertarian ideology. And people focus on like that one or two like I saw something in Austin Peterson's group, and he's like, you know, I'm not Austin, but another guy, he's like, I'm not voting for it because of Bill Weld and then because of this. And it was like the greatest hits of criticisms of the Libertarian Party, James Weeks and all that.
Aleppo.
And I just go, dude, you're missing out on so many cool friendships. You're missing out on so many people like Dennis and Kristi are people that I met in the Libertarian Party. You know, it's not what everybody'd like it to be. It's not what I want it to be. But if you don't get involved in it, at least at some point, you really do miss out.
Yeah.
So
I concur.
Let's go around the horn. You know, I don't know I know Brian wants to update on, but you know, for our sake, for the We Are Libertarians side, since last month, if you are a patron, you get the Build the Wall Patreon feed. It is the mega feed. The only shows that are not in that feed are like Brian's and Boss Hog and the shows that are still active. But those shows from like 2013, like the original Rob Kendall show, the Tad Western show, the all the Maya episodes, the Uncontrollables were never archived anywhere until I just put those up in that feed. So every piece of audio from the We Are Libertarians network ever, except for the active shows, is now in that 1,000 episode feed that you can get. There's you should have gotten the password to get it, but if you didn't, then let me know and I can send it. I think the password is all lower caps. Username is Dear Leader. Password is generous. So you can get that. That is, I started a Substack just to do some writing. I think it is such a cool tool. We've been doing some, if there are more debates, then we'll have open threads, but it's a neat little tool that I'm kind of toying around with. I've wanted to write a lot more, and that is like a fun, intimate platform. And I'm going to lock that down because I want to write way less on social media and way more for the people that actually want to read what I write. And so that's one cool thing. So those are just a couple things that we've been working on here at We Are Libertarians. All Patreon members get access to the Substack. You don't have to pay twice. If you do want to, I'm okay with it. But you have access to it. I've already granted you membership to chrisspangle.substack.com or chrisspangle.com. Brian, tell us what's been going on with the Brian Nichols show.
Yeah, we've been so busy.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of shocked at the amount of content that we've been doing. And that's entirely due to a new addition to the Brian Nichols show team. So that's partly why I wanted to join today's show too. I mean, number one, I do want to get more involved beyond just like the Facebook group chat we have and stuff, and like get involved, like talking on the network more, to fill you guys in on what's happening on the show. So with that, I have a new executive producer, Corey.
Nice.
Corey Dunn joined back in August. He has been awesome. He's been helping me out. He does a lot of marketing and in sales, but also helping with just some stuff behind the scenes I just didn't have the time for. I know I talked about on my day show, or my main show rather, but my day job is a sales director. So, I mean, that requires a lot of time and attention and effort for my day job. And just candidly, I didn't have the bandwidth to really give more than I was giving to the show if I wanted it to grow. So just by the way that things happened, Corey had reached out and he was looking to get more involved in the network. I know he had actually reached out to you, Chris, and you were like, honestly, I don't really have anything for you to do right now. And you said, hey, check out, with Brian, if there's anything that he might need help with. And he reached out, and I was like, actually, you know what? Yes, I could use some help. So With that, we've changed the show from going once a week. Now we have at least 2 episodes a week, but we've been doing 3 episodes a week now for the past 2 months. And the outreach of guests I've had has just blown up exponentially over the past 2 months with that. I mean, Brad Palumbo from the Washington Examiner, Fee, National Review, he's been a reoccurring guest in the show. I've had the chief marketing officer of Tiger Fitness, which is one of the largest fitness supplement brands online. He was on the show. Todd Hagopian came back on, just had Glenn Jacobs, Mayor Glenn Jacobs on the show. He's going to be airing here on Wednesday. So it's been really exciting because I've been able to not only talk to a lot of awesome people like I've been doing, but more so frequently. And with that, we've seen, I mean, last month, candidly, was the most downloaded month that my show's ever had.
You almost doubled your downloads. I just was looking.
I couldn't believe it. I was humbled. I literally, and I think it's partly because like people are really hungry right now for some good content on like how you can approach politics in a civil way. And I just like in my email, I get, so my email, I've been getting nonstop from people like notes in the show and stuff. And mostly it's been, hey, you know, I appreciate the civil discourse. Hey, appreciate your approach on politics. I don't agree with you on most of anything, but I agree that you take things from a very objective approach. And like, that seems to be where we're finding a lot of the growth and success. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, we're moving forward with a lot of new stuff. I'm going to be doing a couple new segments on my show each week. One of them is going to be called, I'm not sure for people who are familiar with Tenacious D, but it's a song that was actually from their Pick a Destiny movie that got cut, and it's called The Government Totally Sucks. So we're going to do every week a segment called The Government Totally Sucks, where we're going to highlight one local story across the nation where a government has gone out of its way and totally sucked, and it's ended up hurting its constituents. So we're doing that. And also one thing, I'll wrap up with this, that we've been really excited about is I've been working a lot with other libertarian podcasts, but also reaching out to some sponsors. And we have a lot of sponsors right now on the show doing ad swaps. So I've been working with Lions of Liberty, Mark Clare and his group, Gary Collins over at your Better Life podcast and The Simple Life, Mikkel Thorup from the Expat Money Show, Remzo, obviously, Martinez from On the Run, and a few others. And also I have a new sponsor coming on the network for, it's a CBD company called Eables, EABLES. I've been using them now for about 3 weeks myself, and I'm a huge fan. So they'll be a sponsor here on the show. So yeah, it's entirely due to the fact that now that we have, you know, some numbers to look back to and show people, hey, yeah, people listen to the show quite consistently, and the numbers are increasing. Now it gives us more of a reason to you know, reach out to some folks. And I couldn't have done it at all without Corey, but I wouldn't have had the chance at all to have this opportunity without, number one, dear leader, thank you for being so generous and thorough, but also the patrons. So that's also why I want to make sure I popped on, because I want to just express my deepest thanks, because for the past 2.5, going on 3 years, Chris, which is wild,
I know.
you guys have been helping with the show. And I couldn't do it without you guys. So I'm very thankful. I just want to, you know, from my mouth to your ears, thank you so much for helping support not only my show, but the rest of the We Are Libertarians network.
Yeah, that's the cool part about it, is that it's hard to get an audience in an age where there's just so many different shows. Like the amount of podcasts this time last year was around 700,000, 600,000, and now it's up to like 1.4 million in the Apple directory. So wow. It's like almost doubled in a year, and because there's now real revenue coming into the space, your choices are expanding exponentially, and so, you know, which is awesome. It just means that it's harder, and you've got to network a little bit harder to get your word out. And you know, We Are Libertarians patrons give us the ability to give Brian a platform, Remzo a platform, and really help them build an audience and start their career doing what they want to do, you know, and you know, whether full time or just as a fun hobby or a side gig. And it's all due to you guys. You guys are the ones that pay the bills and pay for the hosting and pay for the tools that it takes to get this done, the Zoom accounts, all that stuff. I try to make it as zero cost for the hosts as possible. You know, so thank you guys for doing that, because it really does help. You know, Hody has said a million times, like, you know, I never wanted to be the leader setting all this stuff up, but I got a chance to contribute for a couple years and write and have a place to do podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And that's solely because of our patrons. So we thank you guys for it, because people like Rimzo, Rimzo's doing Zoom chats with Ben Stein now.
Right?
And how cool is that?
Cool.
So Rimzo's over at Parler or Parlay, depending on your pronunciation. And he's big wig over at Parler now. And he's like chit-chatting with Mark Levin and Dan Bongino and Ben Stein and all these different people. It's fun to see his career start to take off too. So, Dennis, Paul, I don't know, Kristi, if you guys have anything that you want to weigh in on, you're more than welcome to.
Go ahead, Paul.
I did want to mention last night we were joined by and forgive me, I believe it was Jacob.
Jordan Laycock?
Jordan, yes. Yep.
Patron, yeah.
At Liberty and Chill. And he leveled the same criticism that I have for myself. We haven't done much advertising of it, but that's kind of with the COVID restrictions and everything. We've put that on the back burner. That and me being out of state so much this year for different work opportunities. It's not been a great year to try to grow that as a gathering.
So for those who don't know what Liberty and Chill is, explain it.
Essentially, it is a safe place to bring anybody that is liberty curious, or even not really that curious about libertarian politics or philosophy, and sit down, have dinner in a friendly, warm, welcoming environment, and just have discussions of ideas, pop culture, whatever. It doesn't have to be about liberty, but eventually, we have a card-carrying Democrat and somebody who I would describe now as a libertarian socialist, who come quite regularly, are part of our friend circle, for me, Harry, and
this was like a hardcore communist Bernie bro that you guys have basically negotiated into libertarian socialism.
Yeah.
Next, like 2 more years, he's going to be wearing Brian's Rand Paul T-shirt.
I found this. I couldn't wear this, by the way, for like 4 years because I had my celiac disease. I got so fat, and now it fits again, and it's like the best it's ever fit. This thing is. I'm breaking this out of the treasure chest here. I'm so excited.
You should see his guns too, by the way.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. I'm feeling a little shamed here.
Hold on, Kristi. Kristi wants to see your arms. Let's see those arms.
Woo!
I got you, Kristi. For Patreons only.
Patreon ever.
Yeah, so if you want to start a Liberty and Chill in your area, so basically you get together, you pick a night once a week. It's a social gathering, and I have created artwork for you to use. That's usually the biggest barrier. So you get some branding, you get some artwork. I can adjust it for you. You can do it yourself. You can start like a local hangout, and they get together every Friday night at a local, it's not a bar, it's like a brewery. And
brewery tasting house.
Yeah,
tasting
so
room.
cool.
Just a fun place to hang out. Back in the old days of Liberty and Chill, I mean, we were having 50 people. We were filling Blackacre. It's a little tougher right now with COVID restrictions, but it's just a fun way to hearkening back to the 2009, 2010 meetup days when you'd go on meetup.com and you'd go and you'd show up to Borders bookstore and talk about should you be allowed to own your own tank. And at the time I said no, but now I see the error of my ways, and everyone should be allowed to own, not just a tank, their own nuclear weapon. So, Liberty and Chill, you can find it on the website at WeirdLibertarians.com if you're interested in starting that, or hit Paul Copeland up and he can help you out.
Yeah. And I will just slightly shame Dear Leader for his attendance record is worse than mine, and I've been out of state most of the year. So.
You can try to shame me, but how do you do that with someone with no shame? I don't know. No, here's the thing. Like Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, tweeted this out. He goes, people think I'm really fun because I'm funny on Twitter. He said, I can make you laugh, but if I'm hanging out with you in person, it's not fun, and I'm not fun, and I'm not that interesting. Now, knowing Peter, he's absolutely right, but there's an element of truth to that where, like, if I'm in a crowd, I'm shy, and I'm thinking about work or
Guilty.
politics, or my mind is somewhere, I'm quiet. Even if I know you, I'm fairly a quiet person, and I'm not all that interesting. I save it all for here. I really don't think I'm all that interesting, Kristi. She's like, lies. I'm like, no, I just don't think that if I'm in a room, it's all that fun. And so I don't know. I just do so much. It's like Friday night. Sometimes I just want to chill and watch movies. Last night I watched Blue Bloods. We saw
Harry Potter over here.
We watched several. We solved several crimes last night. Yeah, big Harry Potter fan. Are you?
You are?
Are you?
Oh no! I mean, my wife and I have been going through like this rewatching of different movie series.
Mm-hmm.
So we did Star Wars, and so we mainly did Star Wars because my wife had seen Star Wars, but she had never watched them she'd watched them very sporadically. So like 1, 6, 4, 2, and like she never saw them put together. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do this whole chronological 1 through 9. And like she got so invested into Star Wars, I was so excited for her. She was so upset when Darth Vader turned to the dark side. It was like heartbreaking for her. She started to tear up. She's like, he just wanted to keep Padme alive, and he just got manipulated. And I was like, you're so cute. And then she hated the new ones. She's like, yeah, these aren't that good. I was like,
really?
Oh, I didn't have to say anything. But
Good.
But I
Let the hate flow through you.
I didn't even bring it up. She's just like, wow, these aren't that good. And I was like, they're not that
like
good.
The new ones or the ones from 20 years ago?
No, like the new ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't. I've only seen the original when I was kids, and I rewatched all of them, and I didn't hate one of the 20 years ago ones. Like the third one wasn't that bad.
No, it's quite good relative to today's standards.
It was very good political drama, but then like some of the new ones, I just wasn't all that into it. My girlfriend Reagan is 26, and so she was homeschooled too. Her first R-rated movie was when she was 18 years old in college, and it was Human Centipede. And so like she started hard. So like her
not going in like
her
jumping in the deep end on that one.
Like the other day I go,
intended.
what are you going to do? Wear a beeper? And she goes, what's a beeper? And I go, you don't know what a beeper is? I had to explain what a pager was. She didn't know what it was. So her cultural references. So like all we do is watch movies from the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, no, you have to understand the greatness of Gene Hackman. I need to show you that the Hunt for Red October, and so she's like, she's into it now. But in the beginning, she's like, these are kind of boring. They're
old movies.
Yeah, they're old, like you. So
there's a list I was wanting to put together. It's like, these are the things you have to have watched for us to have a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you have to have seen Animal House. You have to have seen Porky's. You have to have seen Police Academy or, Stripes, Life of Brian, those sorts of things. It's like, they're Blazing Saddles.
Oh, classic.
So we watched, we watched The Holy Grail, and she goes, this is not funny. I was like,
there's funny bits in it. Well, what's funny is that there's a person on YouTube who does react. I like watching reactions on YouTube because I'm a magpie and I like showing people things to see their reaction to it, to see and to share their reaction with what I remember reacting, and it almost makes me relive that same feeling I got when I first saw it. Right. So I'll watch people do reactions on stuff. And there's this one called, she does Millennial Movie Mondays. So she's like 26. She's never seen these movies before, and people are telling her to watch them. So she's seeing, like Blazing Saddles and Life of Brian. She's like, she does not get Monty Python at all. She hates Monty Python. And it's just because I don't know if it's just the age thing or what it is, but she loved,
it's nostalgia because like I never watched The Princess Bride as a kid. And so I watched it as an adult at like 33. And I was like, this is not that funny. But people love Princess Bride because it's like a nostalgic thing from their child. Like I love Monty Python because at 13 I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But if you watch it objectively, Some of the Monty Python movies are they're not as funny as they were when you were 13 because you're now 37 and you're an adult. And so it's a different, so I get it. Like I get why she thought that.
The Princess Bride was not about comedy. Princess Bride was just a
No, I know
story.
it wasn't. It wasn't about comedy at all.
No, it's about a story though that really comes to fruition at the end as a whole. And it's one of the more touching dramas that I've ever seen. There's some funny bits in it, but it was never a comedy.
I've never heard such levels of bullshit.
What do you mean?
You're in our
the
Facebook
as you
group
wish
chat,
at the end
not?
when Peter Falk turns and says "as you wish" to the kid, and he's changed his whole mind about how he sees his grandfather through this story. That's not impactful to you in any way.
I was on my phone at the time. I checked out.
God.
All right, Rhinehold, you were gonna jump in and mention something. What updates do you have?
Not a lot I can really talk about because I have this tendency to say I want to do a bunch of stuff and then time kills me and prevents me from doing it. But I do want to bring up Discord. Make sure people who are interested in some way who may not have known that we do have a Discord that we regularly game in. Paul and I last night were playing Paladins for a couple hours and after Liberty and Chill. So we get in and sometimes we have a full group that we can do Among Us or some other games like that. So it's a fun time. And I kind of found it weird that Hody decided to do more gaming stuff as far as writing for gaming. And he left the one place where we were gaming together.
Yeah, that's really. He can hear this. So, Hody, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's going on? You leave us like that. I mean,
yeah, he gets a new job, and now he's too cool to play with us anymore.
So, and I'm trying to work on more writing and maybe some side gigs on audio, but we'll see how that goes.
Just do it, Rhinehold. You're very smart.
I know.
Just do it.
I just have this thing where I'm like, I don't think anybody would care. So
Everybody has that.
I don't want to bring the network down with my content.
You can never do any more damage than Ryan is doing. Don't worry about it.
I didn't say that. I thought it, but I didn't say it.
No. Ryan's not doing damage. I'm just giving him shit. I was listening to Jonah Goldberg, his podcast, The Remnant, from today, and you want to talk about infighting. All the talk about libertarians infighting, go check out Noah Rothman, Steve Schmidt, and Jonah Goldberg right now. It's not nearly as aggressive and awful as that spat is at the moment. Like Steve Schmidt's calling people Nazis, and they're just basically telling people who the head of the Lincoln Project truly is. And, he basically wrote in his G file, he's like, listen, just say what you believe, say the truth as you see it, and let everybody else sort of sort themselves out. He's like, you can only be honest with yourself, because when you do writing, when you do speak out loud and tell the truth as you see it, other people may not react well to that, but at least at the end of the day, you can sleep. You can look in the mirror and say, okay, this is because he hit on something that I've been arguing for a long time. Like, the perspective of many people is not wrong. It's that old adage of, I feel a hose. Well, it's the elephant's trunk. I feel a tree. It's the elephant's leg. Like, I kind of think in some of this discussion, everybody's telling the truth. People are telling their truth as they see it, and they're telling their perspective. It's just that the human brain can't comprehend such a large, complex society in the way. And so politicians come along and they try to bamboozle you by fitting reality into a box so you can perceive it. It's when you go, no, this politician's right, and the experience of these four groups are wrong. And that's what all you can do is just say what you think and let other people sort it out. Like, be fair, be respectful. Don't like lie, tell the truth, but tell the truth as you see it. And you're never going to please anybody. Like, every time I hit send or publish, I always have that doubt too, but at the end of the day, I'm comfortable with what I said. The only time I'm ever uncomfortable with anything I say, it's when I'm gleaning information and making an assumption on that or forming my opinion on headlines. If I've done my research and I know that I'm saying what is true is true through my interpretation or through my analysis, then I don't care what anybody says about it. You know what I mean? Like, I know if I know that I'm right, then I'm good. But if I'm hedging my bets and just giving a hot take, that's when you start to get into trouble.
That's like with the Russia. I mean, I've been studying that Russia stuff for so long, and I kind of know what's going on with it at a deep level. Then you get people who just make the the biased propaganda statements off of it. It's just like, no, that's not but how do you, it's hard to explain that to them, right? Because they don't want to hear, they just want to hear their
I think
stuff.
everybody has that thing that they know, like the voter fraud stuff. Everybody has that thing that they know really well. But then when they hear other people talk about it, they're just, I don't know, Brian, what's your thing? Like, you know it really well. And then when somebody talks about it politically, like, you know, then they're not, they don't know what they're talking about. And it just, stuff like that ticks you off.
Yeah, I find the best way to approach it has been through almost like a, hey, listen, it's not your fault that you think this. Like, agree with them. Say like, oh my God, no, I heard that too. And you know what? It actually turns out that wasn't the case. I've been doing a lot of research behind the scenes, and here's what actually happened based on what I've heard. And then you're helping empathize with them on a person-to-person basis. So it's like, listen, it's not that you're wrong. It's that you were misinformed, that you were also swindled by, name the media organization we want to hate at this day. But like when you come in with you're wrong, right? Then they're like, well, hold up. Like, I'm just telling you what I heard in the news. Like, this is the news I heard. We need to meet them on that like human level first, and to help them understand, like, listen, I'm on your side, because I mean, I think we can all agree, we've all been in that position. Like, we've all shared something and be like, shit, I didn't click the link to read it first. I probably should have done that.
Yeah.
And like, we've all
always
done
get in
it.
trouble always get in trouble when I just go by the headline. So I never try to do that anymore. But the great example is like the militia, the Michigan militia.
Yeah.
They just got now apparently they're all Antifa.
That's the new
that's
one?
the thing. Yeah, that's the thing going around that Andrew Horning was posting it this morning. It's
Because they're anarchists?
No, one guy had an anarchist flag and said that he thought Trump was a jerk, and I don't know why people follow him. So one guy said that in a video, and now the whole group are Antifa based off of that. And it's like, well, there's videos of two other members of that group wearing MAGA hats and talking how great Trump is. So you can't, it's, I don't even know.
What's the problem with collectivizing things? That's the thing, right? When we start to collectivize language, it just like, it's negative downward spiral.
There was no Antifa anywhere in any of that conversation. And they took the anarchy flag and said, oh, that's Antifa because it's an A.
Oh.
And I'm like, what are you guys?
Yeah, it's the Hayek's knowledge problem. Not one person can understand everything and understand the whole marketplace. You need different ideas. You need conversation. You need like multiple points of view. You need to, engage. Like, I don't agree when Rimzo posts on We Are Libertarians Facebook page that Trump is the greatest president of our lifetime. But if Rimzo can back that up and wants to have that fight, then go for it. Like, let's have it out. Let's hear it.
He got no pushback.
He didn't get any pushback. It is
comments.
It is funny how Rimzo and Brian will post something that appeals to a more conservative leaning base, and there's like 3 clicks. But then Ryan's like, I think everybody should have the same health care as Donald Trump. And it's like 900 comments of you commie son of a bitch. It is like, what was really like, I would love everybody to have the same
hypothesis.
Yes.
So my hypothesis is based on the market that we currently have, right?
Yeah.
So we look at the market that we currently have, and I think it'd be fair to say, dear leader, that when you did start We Are Libertarians, you started more from a Ron Paulian approach to things,
totally,
right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, so like naturally the market that we built up as our audience is going to be more of that Ron Paulian base. So when we start to talk about things that are more not the Ron Paulian messaging. So like Ron Paul was a libertarian and believed libertarian ideas. And now we're talking the messaging of libertarianism to the people we really haven't focused on in a while, if at all. So now the people who were brought into the movement by that Ron Paulian message, now they're like, oh, hold up, this is not the same messaging that brought me in. What are you doing? Without realizing that, like, hold on, we've already brought in a majority of the people from that Ron Paulian movement. Like, now we have to start expanding our market beyond other places. That's why you see companies and organizations, they'll start to put their foothold in different markets, because once you kind of tap out your market, you need to start exploring different markets. And that's what we're doing now, getting out of our comfort zone. And that's why I welcome somebody like Ryan into the market of the We Are Libertarians network, because he's a different voice that's going to be reaching different people. But then to the other side of the argument is like, we have to remember too that we have to, I think, keep our existing market in like place, right? Like
So
challenge them, but don't like, I don't say offend, because offend's not the right word. Like, don't degrade, if that
be
makes sense.
patient. So here, hold on, Rhinehold. Like, be patient with that pain point, right? Like, be patient with that discomfort from other people.
Correct.
You know, and you know, Ryan, I'm always like, be patient. You know, but Ryan also, it's hard waking up every day seeing how much of a piece of crap you are, and like you lose your temper, and I totally get it, and I'm totally patient with him. Like, Ryan does his homework. I will defend to the hilt Ryan. I will defend to the hilt Brian. I will defend Rimzo. Like, if you're in the network and you're treating people with respect and you're working hard, then I got your back. If you're a friend, I've got your back. You know, I'll take the pain of trying to breach out into that new marketplace, because there needs to be another lane. There needs to be a separate lane. Like, when you post something, like I posted a Kamala meme where she's looking at Pence and it says, waiting for a man to finish lying. Like, that was a funny joke. And I know that that's going to be a funny joke to women. And I know that that's probably going to tick off the right-leaning male snowflakes. But I'm willing to take that pain because women deserve jokes too. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think a lot of you're exactly right, Brian, in that over the course of the history of We're Libertarians, we have played to what most libertarian podcasts and broadcasters do. They want to be big in libertarian circles by appealing to the most popular strain of libertarianism. And what that does is that atrophies and discourages anybody else who may come from a different mindset or may have a different approach. And I get so many nice comments from people that I respect, like Reason Writers or other folks who go, I appreciate that you're not doing the same thing with We're Libertarians, because I enjoy reading a different point of view. I enjoy the conversation. You know, then Benjamin Tucker in the late 1800s had this same model where he constantly was trying to push into new markets and give them a voice. I'm comfortable having people on our Instagram go a little nuts when they see something that is left-leaning, because I am the one that reads the messages from the left-leaning libertarians that follow that account going, thank God, finally, somebody's not just a Paul bot, you know? And it really encourages me when I get that stuff, because I go, all right, you know, and I saw one comment from a longtime listener. He's like, if you market to everyone, you market to no one. That's not what this is. We're marketing to libertarians. It's just that I am changing. It's not that I'm changing my views. It's that I'm trying to be more open-minded to different patterns and different places. And so
we ask the same thing of those people for us. How could we not expect the same in return?
I have to, you know, when you or Rimzo, but Rimzo more so, post something that I know, because I'm between these two cultures, I know is totally inflammatory to the other side. Like, I go, well, why is that okay, but it's not okay if Ryan does it? Yep. Either way, it's creating discomfort, and that is what people are upset about. It's not reaffirming a bias, and I'm not here necessarily to make anyone comfortable. I'm here to make people think as an analyst, you know, as a commentator, and I'm here because I know that if I can get you to think, if Ryan can get you to think about cops in a different way, or Brian can get you to think about economics in a different way, or Rimzo can get you to think about, you know, loving Trump in a different way, you know, or free speech, I should be fair. Then you're going to start to expand your horizons and maybe be a little more intellectually curious. And so I'm comfortable with that pain, because you've nailed exactly what I'm trying to do, which is move out into different markets. Because I just think that the mindset of trying to, I see where a lot of other podcasters are going, and it's copying the Trump playbook, and he's the least popular president in history. And that whole kind of embracing cruelty and violence type mindset is not something that is going to appeal long term. In 20 years, the generations that enjoy that kind of mindset are going to die off. I'm thinking about 2100. I'm not thinking about winning 2020. and the people that are involved in We Are Libertarians are the same mindset, even if they come at it from different cultures. Like Ryan, his point of view is not invalid because it doesn't reflect the culture that I'm from. You know what I mean? And there's something called group dynamics where there's been studies done that it's a Cass Sunstein book, and it kind of articulates it in his book, Going to Extremes. If you have a group, and you have a group of, let's say, Ron Paul libertarians, and they all think one way, but then you introduce somebody who, let's say you take Mike Shipley, and you put them in that group, and they're friends, all of a sudden, everybody starts to moderate.
Yes.
But
yes.
if you put in more Ron Paul libertarians, they continue to move more to extreme positions, and the place that they end up at is so far more extreme than where they started at. Because
you lose people too, because as you start to get more extreme, people start to say, "Oh, hold up, this is getting a little too much," and they start to drop off one by one.
That's exactly right. And so Ryan keeps Dennis keeps us grounded, because I have to, when I talk about race, because I'm friends with Miss Pat and Dion, and I have to go see them every week, I think a lot more about race and how I interact with it and what I think and how, because I have to go look my friends in the eye and be proud of everything that I say out loud, right?
My neighborhood, same exact thing.
It's exactly right. And then there's also in this paper, he's like, you've got to have a dumb person in the group, because you've got to have that one person that you have to explain the basics to, because you have these doctors and they get so far into knowledge that they can't translate it because the average person no longer connects with it. So, Paul, thank you so much for being a part of the group.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say Dale, but he jumped off. So
I know.
But what I was gonna say before too is that what happens on the Facebook side of things is that we have, Ryan will post something and people will see it because they're looking for it and get offended and start commenting, which causes more comments and comments. And then that causes the algorithm that Facebook has to push that content out because it's popular post. We see those things all the time where it says this post is doing better than 75% of your other posts. Help boost it.
Do you want to boost it?
So they're boosting that because it's popular, and they're pulling back on the stuff that's not. So when Remzo posts Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime, and nobody says anything for an hour or two because it's not that controversial or it's not that big of a deal or whatever, it's like, oh, whatever. It doesn't get the attention. So then people start seeing We Are Libertarians only putting the Ryan stuff up.
And it's the only stuff
that's getting all the popular.
It's what happens
making the image.
Yeah, it's what happens with Dave Smith and Tom Woods. Everybody goes, oh, they're just white supremacist racists because they're only in the Fakertarians group and only see the screenshots of that stuff. And so when Michael Heiss screenshots some liberal post from Ryan and goes in the Mises group and says they're a bunch of liberals, that's not accurately reflecting the other 30 people that are involved in this, the other 8 podcasts, the other, and it's wholly unfair, and they know what they're doing. They know it's basically propaganda. And so at the end of the day, like, I'm totally comfortable, like, even if I feel often that we are not understood, it does not bother me because we understand each other. We understand we're doing great work. Please leave. If you're going to come over and stare at me in my boxer shorts, quit interrupting my flow.
Well, here's the thing too, is that we could go down that path. We have enough support that we could probably start going after some of those people, but we don't want to.
No,
why would you?
Gain us anything. Yeah. All it's going to do is just cause more problems, and I don't see the point of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I will personally point out to certain people when I think that they're wrong, but I'll do it as me individually. I won't do it as the network or whatever.
People don't, like the debates understood, the VP, like what Kamala Harris understood in that debate when she intentionally started, excuse me. She understood that, and Pence understands this too, which is why he doesn't answer questions. It's not about the substance of your statements. It's about the tone that you portray. Right. And so she knew that the press, Dana Bash and Candy Crowley and everybody on CNN afterwards is going to go, he just interrupted her. That's a meme. They're doing this, and Pence knows it doesn't matter what the question was. Nobody's going to watch the whole debate. They're just going to see my conversation, and so it's all about tone and not substance. And you just can't, we're now at a level where you can't control how you're perceived. You just have to do your best to explain yourself, and the people who care will pay attention. And and I will say this: if you appreciate Ryan, please send him a message. It's really hard to be that first person that steps up to try and help break that new market. It's incredibly stressful. And so please send people like Ryan and Brian and Rimzo and Dennis, or Rhinehold, Paul, anybody involved in the We Are Libertarians network that you like, that you see on a consistent basis, send them a note of thanks, because they do this for free. They volunteer their time, and it's important for them to get that knowing that you care and you listen and you appreciate what they do. Brian, go ahead. Final word from the two of you. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so two things. I was going to say, to your point about reaching out to Ryan, that's literally the first thing I did when we were done with our episode 456 roundtable discussion. I messaged him because he had reached out to me as well, basically saying, like, hey, I apologize for any inflammatory stuff. And it's funny because I messaged him too, basically like at the same time, saying like, hey, great conversation, looking forward to more of those conversations. And that's exactly what you need to do, is to build that kind of a bridge to actually have conversations with people you disagree with. I guess if I could give any suggestions, right? And Rhinehold he was touching out there as he was wrapping up. Rhinehold, I agree with you full-throatedly. I'd only make one suggestion, dear leader, is that maybe we could ask Ryan to make like a Facebook page for like Ryan, the or Libertarian Socialist or something like that. And then like have him share his content from that page on the We Are Libertarians page. Just like, I try to do that with my stuff when I'm sharing like from the Brian Nichols show, or I know Remzo does it from his, but just a thought. I'm throwing that up there, suggestion as a roundtable discussion.
Here's my counter to that, just from a functional perspective. It doesn't matter how it's shared, as long as it's attributable. That's what I care about. But the inflammatory part is that people are seeing things in their echo chamber they don't like, and they're mad at. Yeah, and so
I'm saying if we can get rid of some of the ammunition, right, that's being used in the first place. So like if we have it, so instead of it's like the squiggly Ryan squiggly, to have it like We Are Libertarian sharing Ryan Lindsay, We Are Libertarians is Libertarian Socialist. Like I think that might give less ammunition for the screenshot brigade to then go and try to like hide, put things in the wrong context, if that makes sense.
That's funny, the screenshot brigade. Do you know that their theory is that I am Ryan, and that Ryan is
a thing?
Yeah, Ryan is a pen name of mine, and I'm actually the one writing all this stuff.
That would be that's a lot of work if you did that.
Right. Like, when have I ever shied away from putting my name on things? Like,
Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn.
Right. So funny. Dennis, final thoughts.
One thing I wanted to point out was that Brian messaged me too at the end of that meeting, so that was cool. I have a Facebook page, Rhinehold, that I've had for some time. It's got 60 followers, so
cute.
I'm really doing gangbusters on that. Getting a lot of engagement. But when I do share stuff to the page, I've started tagging that page just so it's kind of a highlighted thing. So,
I appreciate that too.
So I think I'm trying to remember if there's something else I want to say now that I've lost it. So I think that's about it. I guess I just wanted to make sure I got my little plug in for my page that nobody's going to see, but I've finally got my Instagram tied back to the right page on Facebook, because it kept wanting to go to my personal page instead of my Facebook page. And so now I'm going to be putting all my memes are going to be double posted on Instagram and on Facebook. So hopefully that's a little bit more stuff there for people to follow. So.
Kristi?
Ooh, I get to talk now? Yay!
You've had an opportunity ever. What are you talking about?
I've been standing here for how long waiting to get my chance to talk?
Well, then just tap me on the shoulder. You're literally right next to me.
Anyway.
She's standing this whole time? Oh my gosh. God bless you.
Your leader didn't give her permission to sit.
She had a chair over there.
Anyways, I just want to say that Allen County has been doing a Liberty and Chill for quite some time. And hopefully the stars will align this Wednesday. And we will have our I don't know how to say it. He's newly come out as a Libertarian city councilor at that meeting. So we're all excited to meet with him and sit down and welcome him to the party and tell him how he's wrong about everything.
Yeah, is that the guy that was announced at the
yes, at the Jorgensen. He switched parties at the Jorgensen event in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago, and I didn't even realize he was in my area at first, and then he came up to me afterwards, and we talked for just a second. And I actually attended a city council meeting this past Tuesday, but he was sick, so he wasn't even there.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, is this guy real or not? He had a mask on when I met him, so maybe he's not real. I don't know. But
He's actually right.
I'm working hard on the Rainwater for Indiana campaign, so maybe someday I'll have a job in Indiana government. Woo!
Nice. And that's really what libertarians are after.
That's
Patronage.
right. All the power.
Hey, I've had a government job for the past 3 months.
Have you? What have you been doing? Census stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an enumerator for the census.
Can you fill out mine?
Have you not?
I have not.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I have not either, because they are making me do it online instead of giving me a form that I can fill in, and they won't let me go to answer the first question and then stop.
They won't let me fill it out on paper.
Well, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's that the website, I have no problem doing it on the website, but I want to do what I always do is I fill out the first question and then I don't fill anything else out, and they won't let you skip
Gotcha.
on the website. So I just backed out and said, I guess I'm not doing it this year.
Get on that, Paul. Get on it.
Yes. As soon as they assign me cases, I'm currently trying to get travel reimbursements and stuff for my disastrous trip to Iowa.
What happened? Did you meet Dale?
Yes. No. I was in too foul of a mood to be brought down further. No, the starter in my car died, and I lost 3 days of work and had to pay $500. So I was out about $1,000, and yeah, it wasn't.
That's horrible.
It wasn't
rough.
great.
All right.
It's whatever. It was still a profit, but no, that's been what I've been doing for the last couple months.
All right. Let's wrap up there on that high note. Let's end on a positive note.
My suffering should be.
Oh, shit.
I'll end this on a high note.
Okay.
I'll end this on a high note. So while we were talking, I got a call from my mom. My dad is doing great, and they are going to probably let him come home tomorrow.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
That's
good,
great.
Good stuff.
That's
If you heard
really
the
good news.
end of the show that Rhinehold had, his father was having surgery. So, all right, everybody, that is great news. Thank you so much for joining us here on Build the Wall. Brian, thank you for being here. Kristi, thank you for being here, even though it was an unannounced visit. You know how I feel about that. Would you like to publicly apologize?
I did announce that I was coming.
Yeah. I
Your
saw this
leader
all
is a
over the
freaking
chat
liar.
the other day.
I did not see it. I don't remember it.
He doesn't read his own chat. That's the thing.
That's right.
I'll tag him stuff, and he's just like, "Oh, I didn't see that."
I'm going to screenshot it next time.
Yeah, there's the 0% chance. Hey, listen, it's hard to keep up. All right, thank you, Paul, for being here, and thank you all for being patrons of We Are Libertarians. Thank you. And if you're listening on audio, go check out the video of my apartment. It's up on the Patreon. Thanks.